In this video, I'm gonna show you how to create a really fun looking macaw cartoon character using only 4 simple shapes that anybody can draw. If you are a beginner artist and want to learn how to draw cartoons in a simple way, this is the video for you. I'm creating a simple step-by-step tutorial that will guide you to be able to draw this really cool looking cartoon. And hey, my name is Mars and I am a character artist and illustrator within the animation industry. And for the past 5 years, I have been able to work amongst the best of our animation industry here in Los Angeles, California. If it is your wish to improve your game with your artwork and your cartoon style, this is the video for you. So follow along and let's get into drawing this cool character. All right, so I'm excited for this animal that we're gonna draw. Today, we're gonna focus on the macaw. First thing that we as artists always look to is, okay, how can I break this animal down into different shapes that we can be able to draw from? So I'm gonna take this reference photo right here and I'm gonna minimize it. And I am using the program Photoshop. So you can also do this at home with paper and pencil. And this is gonna be just using simple shapes that you can, just 4 simple shapes that will give you this really fun looking cartoon character. So we're gonna take this step by step. My first shape that I'm gonna use is gonna be my circle. Okay. Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this circle, I'm gonna give it a halfway point on the same way our planet has the equator. I'm gonna put 2 points right here. And awesome. I'm going to cut it from north to south, from the North Pole to the South Pole. Bring it down like this. All right. Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take our rectangle. So I'm gonna take this point right here and this point right there, point it like this, and bring that down to create a rectangular shape for the neck of the macaw. And just make sure you have those lines very well established so that way you can be able to follow and create that map or the guidelines for your character. That's what I always do. I always make sure I follow my guidelines, because without my guidelines, I'm just guessing at that point. So I don't want to guess. I want to make sure I'm using this correctly. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm going to now create another circle next to my big one for the beak. So I'm going to take a circle right here. Circle right there. And then, as we did earlier, we're gonna draw a teardrop coming to follow along from the curve of the beak coming down. So I'm gonna make a point from right here and I'll follow down. Give it a nice, confident line coming down to follow the beak. And then I'm gonna bring another line coming up like that at the base of our circle right there. Cool, that is our teardrop shape or beak shape. It almost kind of looks like the yin and yang symbol, right? That's what I was, if we can be able to draw the yin and yang, one of the halves of the symbol, you can be able to draw a beak. And you can tilt your canvas to make sure that you're comfortable drawing. All right, awesome. Now, our next shape is gonna be our sharp triangle. Now, where is this one gonna fit? Our sharp triangle is gonna be placed right here. And so I'm gonna go back to my big circle. And you have the halfway point right here. This area right here, I'm gonna cut this one in half. So I'm gonna cut it in half right here. Create a guideline right there. Okay, and then right here, I'm going to create a circle, triangle, the corner of the sharp triangle coming down. And then right here, from this point, come down. And you can kind of almost tell that we are getting those basic shapes down and it's kind of looking like a bird. like a macaw bird. All right, cool. And that is gonna be our 4 shapes that we just mashed together to be able to create our character. Now that we have them down, we're gonna start focusing on putting a little bit more details into the character. So now I'm gonna go to our main circle that we worked on earlier, and I'm gonna cut the northern part of that circle. I'm gonna cut that one in half as well. From this point to this point, I'm gonna cut it in half. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on making that eye mask that we have been learning to be able to create the area for the eye specifically, and then where you're gonna have the plane for the details of the eye. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in. From this point right here on the half circle, I'm gonna give a curve coming like this, coming down. Then I'm going to do another curve, and then I was not kidding when it says this is going to be a curvy animal, because we're going to do a lot of curves. There's a curvy line like this coming right here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take from this point of the circle, I'm going to come down, give a curve, follow it, and bring it to the other side. So give that mask shape of the eye. And now right here in this area, I'm gonna create my eye shape, which I always like to use is the egg shape. So I'm gonna create an egg right here. Now what we need to do is that we need to close the beak shape. We're gonna close this part right here. Make that green. We're gonna close this part and this part right there. So I'm gonna get my color back. And you can tilt your paper or canvas however you want to just make sure you get a comfortable curve. I'm gonna bring it curved from up here. And follow through on the other one, on the previous shape that we did. So we're gonna follow through from the point of the beak coming up, and then finish up that nice big curve to give that nice full beak shape. Now, the bottom of the beak, I'm going to take this point right there. Give you the confidence to know the exact shape that you were drawing. Give that nice, detailed and more solid shape of the shape that we started from. Where we started from until now, we have a whole different thing. A more convincing animal. I want to take a moment and ask you to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment down below letting me know how this information has been helpful to you and if you are finding value in this content. I want to be able to give you the best of my knowledge and ability to make things simple and easy for you to follow by leaving me a comment and hitting that subscribe button so I can bring more artwork like this for you to practice along and make really cool cartoons. Now, let's get back to the video. Now it's starting to look like a bird, like a macaw bird. And I'm not gonna get too technical on the details yet, but I'm gonna just close up the gaps of the shape so that way we can be able to give more definition to the character. So now from the smile break, from right here, from this point, I'm going to give a curve coming down to our sharp triangle. Give a nice confident curve right there. Maybe I should use another color. I'm gonna draw blue right there. Yeah, so I'm gonna, because it's getting a little hard to tell. There we go. And from here, give another curve coming up. Just to follow through the bottom of the beak. And from here, I'm gonna give it a little bit of a curve. All right. From this point right here, I'm going to make a curve coming down like this. And follow through on the smile break and give this shape right here. A curve like this. And now, since we can tell right here and on our macaw shape that our macaw does have a bit of a forehead, so I'm gonna draw this part right here. This part right here on the forehead of our macaw right here. So I'm gonna draw, go back to blue and give it a little bit of a forehead right there, following the initial shape that we did right there. Give a nice curve, and then I'm going to follow through on this big shape like that. And then for the neck, I'm going to just follow through right here. There we go. And that is gonna be just the basics of our macaw. I know this was a little bit more technical because of the facial features and the beak shapes, but like I said, watch this full through, practice on your own, because at the end of the way we're just gonna look at the end, it's gonna be totally worth it. Just give yourself some time, follow step by step as we did, and if you need to rewind, go for it, and then just keep practicing. These kinds of characters are really fun because they are challenging, yes, but the more you challenge yourself, the better you get, and just for you to give yourself a little bit of grace to be able to just continue on learning how to do this. And then the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and you're gonna start creating really more cool looking characters as well. So we're gonna take this shape right here, and then we're gonna bring the opacity down to a lighter level. So I'm gonna draw over it, and then we're gonna bring it down to 20%, 22%. That's perfect right there. Boom. Now I'm going to make another layer. I'm gonna get a darker color. I'm gonna use a little bit more of a dark gray. And now I'm going to fill in more of those details coming down. So I'm gonna go to my eye. This is why I always start off with the eye. That's kind of my thing. I always just start from here. So I'm gonna get this corner right here, follow that shape, and bring it coming down. And because our macaw is smiling, when you smile, part of your cheek, actually your cheek muscles kind of push up and make a little bit of a squint. That's when you know you are genuinely smiling, when these cheekbones are coming up. I'm sorry, yeah. And these muscles kind of just make your eyes a little bit more chinky. And you can really tell that smile that you're giving is pretty genuine. So I'm gonna give my macaw a genuine smile. I'm gonna give that curve right there. And now what I'm gonna do is follow this path right here. So from here, I'm going to just follow this shape of my mask. This part between the beak and between the dark of the beak and the white part of the macaw, I'm gonna do this. So bring that down. The heavy lifting has been lifted, and now I'm just really gonna relax and just kind of go over the lines I previously did earlier. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker, because now it's just almost just doing the work I did earlier. I'm now gonna be able to enjoy just kind of zoning out and just follow the lines and just trace over them. Now that is looking like a real fun Macaw cartoon character. So now let us go back to the eye shape. Bring in another egg shape right here for the eye. Okay, now give it a little bit of a eyelashes. This is the eyelash shape that I always like to use. The eyelid. And then I'm gonna draw the eyebrows. Kind of draw small eyebrows from here. So draw this shape following this curve right here. I'm gonna close it up right there. Oop. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to darken my eye shape. And then just color a little bit, or darken up the eyelash area, and then the eyebrow. And you can tell that the macaws have that nice dark little markings on its eyes. So I'm gonna just draw a couple of those little markings coming up. And then I'm gonna draw some of those, like right here. All right. And then we are going to, I'm gonna minimize this a little bit, minimize them, because I'm gonna darken up the beak of my macaw. Get my brush, make it a little bit bigger, and just and there you have your macaw a little bit. So I'm gonna give a little bit of color just to finish off. I'm gonna give, and then the main colors that you see are gonna be green, blue, and yellow. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a little bit of that yellow, and then give it that, a little bit of that hint of yellow, and then a little bit of that blue, and that nice Amazon green. And then for the eyes, I'm gonna give that nice little white part of the eye. And then for the eye, I'm gonna zoom in. All right, and then lastly, I'm gonna give a little bit more of that darker shade to the little markings on the eye, like right here. There you go. Nice. Now I can be able to make that bigger. Perfect. And we have drawn our macaw. Macaw is done. that is our character.